been here 3 months. I was extradited from the States. I got accused of attempted murder and kidnapping. The association here is a good thing because in the States, it's living conditions is rough. Here, they have rules and regulations which you have to follow. You can't fight with a fellow inmate because you get sanctioned. You get punished for fighting with a fellow inmate. Basically, the association is pro-inmate. It's to make a better living condition in the institution so we can live in harmony and cooperate with each other.
If there's any place I'd like to do time in the world, it's here. It's a place, this jail here, you don't have to watch over your back like you do in all the other jails I've been to. You're very well protected under the association, and they watch out for you. And there's a lot, we have a lot of discipline here. Prisoners don't get out of hand. It's a big association. It's like a family. And everybody loves everybody. We watch out for each other. We don't let another prisoner fall into the river, in other words, is how they say here, irse por el chorro. Because, if there's a prisoner there doing something wrong, I'll go up and tell him before he actually does something wrong, put him in the cell, talk to him, and tell him, hey, this is the way you gotta be.
Religion and family are two elements that are held sacred among the inmates of the Neta.
Our culture here in Puerto Rico is the family. The family is one of the most important things in the life of every person, and you can see that in the prison. Because the family supports them, even though they are an inmate, the family will always support the inmate and will come to visit him often.
The prison appears to be a calm and passive environment. However, below the surface lies unseen danger. Inmates grow their fingernails long and file them into deadly weapons. Officers are never alone. Armed with batons, they patrol the facility in groups. In 1990, there were 57 homicides committed in Puerto Rico prisons. While the Neta claims to be a passive organization, their strength resides in fear. Inmates who do not follow the association's rules are subject to discipline.
A modelador is the person who carries out the punishment. If you fight with a fellow inmate, you get sanctioned to a punishment. I carry that punishment out.
What would the punishment be?
It can be 3 slaps in the chest. It can be a work detail. You have to do a work detail for a certain amount of time. Things like that. It's not a violent punishment.
Besides a strict code of rules for members of the association, Neta also dictates who's permitted to live within the walls of the facility it controls. Inmates who have committed certain crimes the Neta considers wrong must be transferred to protective custody or be killed.
We call them insects, bugs. They don't belong here. They won't live here. And when they come into jail, we put them up in front of the committee and we check them out. Just tell them, hey, guard, open the door, take this guy out if you can. And they'll say, he don't live here. He can't live here. And he's gone.
Protective custody, home to the insects. These men have violated the Neta code. Now they consider themselves on death row, the Neta death row.
Well, they're really powerful. Right now, they want to kill somebody here. An example, they made a fight there, and they take one of them, and they say you can't live here because we're gonna kill you. But it's a bluff to put that guy here. So they call that a mission. So when the guy get over here, he's gonna try to make his mission. If he had to kill somebody, he's gonna do it. Most of the time, they take people that they have to be the whole life in jail. I mean, that they don't care about nothing. Here are living 2 people that they saw Añetas kill another guy, and they tell it to the police, and they have to be here. They can't live with nobody else since that, because it's Neta put price to their head.
If they don't want somebody in here, it's like in any system in the country. You're in a max facility and you got inmates telling you they're going to kill a guy. You got to take him out. Why? You got to save his life. You know, you can't say, I'm going to keep control and wind up with this guy's throat cut in the morning. So you take him out.
Joe Colon, a 22-year veteran of Rikers Island Prison in New York, is the new commissioner of the Puerto Rico prison system. His mandate, to clean up the prisons.
There's stories of guys that during a midnight tour, they'd cut up, flush him down the toilet. With things they couldn't do with his skull, they would just sit in a tank of the back of the toilet. They would violence. Sometimes the guy would escape, commit a crime in the street, and when a shootout, he would be found dead. They'd find out he was missing from one of the facilities. I mean, things were pretty tough. Right now, we've implemented counts 3 times a day, and we're improving a lot of the security conditions that didn't exist.
Since Colon has taken over, there have been no homicides committed within the walls of Puerto Rico prisons. However, a special security force was dispatched to protect our investigative reports film crew. The chance of a hostage situation arising was a real fear. Prison 292, Puerto Rico's most maximum security facility. Part of Colon's new reform is to separate the violent offenders from the general population. This is home to the most vicious Neta, assassins, murderers, predators.
What you need in here is not in here, man. It's outside. Here, like you got dog. Let's say like that. Like you was a dog, you know? We stay here, we eat here. Some of this food, food that's not even, that's like little kids' food, like tang, cookies, and you know what your reality is nothing. So they lock down 24 hours a day. The young kids, you know? Understand they got a, little bad behavior, but at least give them kids some type of recreation. Where can we go in here? We can't go nowhere. So we got one gate, we got 2, we got 3 gates before this gate. What we gonna do now?
We're dealing with people that are always in trouble. They make trouble where there's no trouble. You know, people that got over 100 years to do, and the honest don't care one thing or the other. They're doing long time. It's difficult. It's difficult to work here.
When a guy comes in here, the most important thing to him is eating, his self-respect, and his communication with his family. You can't with either one of those things, because when you do, you got to be very careful. If not, you have a bloodbath on your hands. So you go in here, you talk to them like I've been doing. Some people think it's bad. Listen, I'll talk to gangs, to inmates, to groups. Why? We have to do that. You got to give these guys something to go for. They say they talked to the boss yesterday, and they're going to sit down and try to work it out. That's fine with me. You can't keep a guy in jail 15 years, and you don't let him out of the cell 1 hour a day. When you do that, you're making him worse. And when he gets out, he's going to be something society can't deal with. You're going to get him back. So we've been implementing training. We're implementing a lot of educational systems. So we've implemented some wood carving and training, furniture making. We're starting now car painting. We're training guys in air conditioning. So there are things that are being slowly done that these guys sorely need. One thing I'm also trying to get a hold of is, before we get them in this system, a program that I'm familiar with from New York, and we started there, bring children from these schools that have a tendency to start committing crimes into these jails. Let some of the inmates talk to them. Let them show them who's waiting for them when they do commit a crime. What's going to happen? It's not all, lifting weights and talking to your girlfriend from the telephone, and she's going to visit you, and you're going to be a tough guy in the neighborhood. When you get in here, you're going to have to produce, and I mean produce with these guys that are going to be fighting you all the time, waiting for you to make a mistake. Whatever it takes, we'll do. As long as we can get guys out of here alive and maybe with a little self-esteem in the program, we'll consider that a measure of success.